Hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? Well, today I wanted to share with you guys a way to put your home directory, any files you want to have inside your home directory, into version control. And by version control, I mean Git. Sorry about the noise. I got a server rack over there. I'm working on getting it quieter, but for now, that's just the way that it is. But anyway, back to version control for your dot files. Basically, there's multiple ways to do this. Bunch of people say, don't try to use version control on your home directory. There's people that try to use GNU Stow. There's people who create, bare directories and all this type of stuff. You don't have to do that. It's very simple, and I'm going to show you how to do it. About 2 years ago, I think, somewhere around there, I was trying to figure out a way to do this. And I stumbled upon this Stack Overflow answer from Pete here. And basically, it's very simple. You create an alias. That alias can be whatever you want it to be. Mine is home, just like the example here on Stack Overflow. I'll post the link in the description. But there's two variables you have to set on Git for this to work. One is the working directory. You have to tell Git in your alias what you want the working directory to be. That, for me, is home. If you don't want to monitor home, you want to monitor something else, and maybe you want to have your Git files outside of that directory, you can also have another variable that you specify. It's git dir, and that's your Git directory. Normally .git is what you would specify, what would get created during the initialization. But if you don't want to, use that, because in our circumstance, if we're running, git status or git commit on something, and we're inside our home directory, even children directories are going to pull up our home status instead of our git status for that child directory. So you have to specify our working tree and our git directory. And the alias kind of helps you circumvent that, because git status is going to be looking for a .git directory. And if it can't find it, well, then it's not going to work. So that's kind of the magic of this. It's pretty simple. The part that it gets somewhat more complicated, not really, it just depends on how you want to do it. Because if you just track your entire home directory, you don't have to do this. But if you want to track only specific directories, like for me, for my use case, I'll show you an example. The use case I had is I have Firefox, and I have it on my laptop, I have it on my desktop. I was really annoyed by how Firefox would flash a white screen every time you clicked a link, or if you opened up a new tab, the top site's new tab page would be all white, right? And it'd be really bright at night, and I didn't like that. So I wanted to change the color. Well, in Firefox, they allow you to do this with creating first you create a profile. Usually you already have a profile created, but it's like XYZ, and it has to be a specific name, so that way you can link it to your laptop. But once you create that directory, the Chrome directory, you can put some files in there. And for me, I have a user Chrome and a user content. So inside the user Chrome directory, I just have, tab browser, tab panels, and I change the background color to, this RGB value. And then I say it's important. So override, basically important says override everything else. And that's pretty much it. And the way that works, so that I can just go home status, right? And see, it's tracking my Mozilla directory there, my Mozilla Firefox Profile Chrome user chrome.css, which is this file. The way that's working is I have a gitignore file. And in my gitignore, I'm ignoring everything by default. I wanted to have basically an inclusion .gitignore rather than an exclusion .gitignore. So the way that this works is you override with the exclamation point any previous rules. So this is basically saying override the previous ignore all and add the .mozilla directory to the list of files I want to track. But I don't want to track everything inside of the Mozilla directory. So what you do is you say ignore. If you don't use the exclamation point, it's going to ignore it. So you have /.mozilla/ star or asterisk. And that says ignore all the files inside of the Mozilla directory. So right now we're just tracking the Mozilla directory, ignoring all the files inside of it. But we're going to override that again with this .mozilla/Firefox directory. We want to track the Firefox directory. And then again, we go and override that, so to speak, and say ignore all the files inside of the Firefox directory, but we want to track, we override that and say we want to track the Profile1 directory. And then we just keep on going until we get to the directory we want, and we're now at the very end, we're overriding, we're saying we're going to track all the files inside the Chrome directory. So that's probably the most complicated, just because you have to traverse so deep in the tree. Obviously, if you have to traverse so deep, I tried to shorten it up and make it so you only had to use, just go directly to it, but that doesn't work. This is the best method I've found so far. If you have another method that works better, let me know. But yeah, that's how you do that. And there's other scenarios where maybe you want to track, documents notes or documents or scripts. And yeah, I mean, I got a home.git directory for my my git/dir directory, and my working tree is the home, just like it's set up inside of this link. And then I'm pushing all my stuff to my GitHub/home repository. And inside this repository, I have mine set to private. One thing you should be aware of is if you're using GitHub, they have limits on, say, for instance, any binary files, large files. Unless you are a GitHub Premium user, which I am, then you can use, GitHub large files support, and then you can, add maybe some image files, larger image files, model files, any kind of binary files that are larger, just different types of stuff. You can add them. And then you have support for it, and you won't have them deleted, and you won't get in trouble from GitHub. But if you have your own server with Git or GitLab or whatever, you can use whatever you want. Obviously, you don't have to use GitHub, but I'm using GitHub. And yeah, so you just go to your settings and you add the key that you need, and then this will work. So right here, I say home status. That shows my status. And if I wanted to, say, for instance, add this new script that I just added, I was cleaning up some stuff, kind of centralizing some of my saves and stuff. I just do home, add, and then I add this file. Oh, it would help if I actually got it right. There we go. So now it added it. So if I do home status, that's going to be gone. But you see, I have to do a commit. So do home, commit, and I say added network SSH commands script. There we go. Then I do home, push, GitHub, master. And as you can see, since I already have my SSH keys set up with GitHub, I don't have to enter any credentials, and added network SSH command script. So that worked just as you would expect. One thing you can see, just as a demonstration, you can do git status and it pulls up nothing, because by default, unless you specify, the git dir variable, then it's going to be looking for a .git folder, and since it doesn't see it, it's not a directory you have to worry about. So that's it in a nutshell. It's very simple to do. You don't have to go through and create all those symlinks and all that type of stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll put all the links in the description, as I said, and I'll try to, say anything that. One thing you might run into is when you're creating your home directory, and obviously you're initializing your home directory with Git. Obviously, it's not going to be empty. You're going to have to initialize it with a special command, not just home init, I believe. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I did it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later.